This is Leaf Life. All things cannabis for all people. Now, Ricker and the Bearded Lorax.
We publish a free magazine called The Leaf that is available in print in 13 states at your local cannabis retailer. And you can also get it online at leafmagazines.com, all 6 of them. I'm Mike Ricker, your host of Leaf Life, with my co-host Wes Abney, also known as the Bearded Lorax.
I speak for the trees.
And there's Stashley.
The token female.
And Mary J. White.
The smoking female.
With more people working from home, the opportunity to take the approach toward more personal education for children is very realistic. And for advocates of alternative learning, it can also be a way to tailor the information in a chosen direction away from the grid of indoctrination. This is homeschooling.
Parent-teacher conferences are about to get weird.
Oh,
in the kitchen.
What does that mean? Hey, our first segment, comfort in the nest. Yeah, they're doing it from the house, man. Everybody's like ready to learn. And number 2 in that segment, teaching on cannabis. What? Oh. But before we get educated, we have to get medicated. So let's get stoned.
Yes.
All right. Let's get warmed up here, Mary.
I'm warmed up.
Oh, she's in the game.
I'm ready.
Well, wherever your day has led you out there in listener land, now it's time to fire up, chew up, or drink up and get in the mood. Wes is already doing it with a vape cart next to me. As we introduce this show's Greg the Guinea Pig.
Hi, I'm Greg, and Ricker used to try his weed out on me. But now it's someone else's turn to be the guinea pig.
Kara, you ready? Fire up.
I am.
Oh, look at that, man. She's speaking of in the kitchen. You guys are both mothers, Mary, you.
That's right.
And Kara Edmund, who is the sales account representative for Anonymous Buffalo Cannabis Company and a mother of 6 children who is homeschooling those kids, right?
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
I mean, wow. 6, first of all.
Yeah, Mary's got like 6 crows that live in her neyborhood.
Yeah,
and that's enough already, you know?
Yeah, that's enough for me.
Well, now, Kara, before we talk about homeschooling, let's figure out, let's stretch that mind a little bit and spin Stash's wheel to see what's in Stash's stash.
All right.
And now, what's in Stash's stash? Will it land on the nug jug, the dab saucer, the vape cart, the edible, the infused drink, the inhaler, or the suppository?
You never know what it's going to be. Kara, I'm sure you've used a few suppositories on the kids there.
No, actually not.
Never?
Thank goodness.
No, it's all natural.
Fortunately.
All like you just feed them good food and homeschool them and never let them outside, or what?
No, well. You know, but
Do they live in
Ricker doesn't have children.
Yeah, really.
Do they live in cages?
Locked in the basement?
No, you know, we let them out.
On a leash?
Good. Well, you know, the occasional leash is necessary, you know,
Gotcha.
just so they don't stray away.
Fair.
Toddler leashes are totally necessary.
Absolutely.
I used to think they were weird, and then I had a crazy toddler trying to run around.
Right? And then they come in handy. You're like, oh, that's what that's for.
It was like a little monkey backpack, and then the leash was the tail. Yeah, it's adorable.
Stash, what are we hitting?
I picked a vape cart. This is Dutchberry from Artizen.
Oh, yummy. Oh, I love Artizen.
Artizen's a longtime
Yes.
supporter of Northwest Leaf here in Washington. You know, we're broadcasting from the Soto district, or Georgetown, actually. Even, I guess, Soto is Georgetown, right? Soto is South District for Seattle, and then south of the Soto district would be Sogo, maybe? That's Georgetown. Huh, Mary? Come on, Mary. Where you at?
Her eyes twitching.
She's lost it, yeah.
Too much.
But, yeah.
Dutchberry's delicious Dutch treat with
Blueberry.
Blueberry, TJ Short blueberry.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
That's like their signature strain, that Dutchberry Artisan.
It's been a top seller for years.
Good stuff.
And Stash is going to imbibe as well. Look at that.
It's proof that those old school strains still have the pow today.
Yeah.
With all those Skittles, Z-Terp crosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Everything's starting to taste the same, and then you go back to an old strain, and you're like, wow,
Yum.
this is hazy and fruity and fun.
Right.
Good work, Artisan.
And effective.
Great
you know,
job.
I love the old school strains. Green crack, man, I can't get enough of, you know, or a Durban poison. At nighttime, it's a Hindu Kush. So, hey, man, we love cannabis. Now let's talk about homeschooling. Kara comfort in the nest. I talk about not letting the kids out, but that really is their zone, being at home. And I would think that would be also the most comfortable place to learn in. When you go to a school, elementary school, middle school, high school, or whatever, there's so much judgment and comparison, and you're really learning. You're, like I said in the open, getting indoctrinated to, their rules, their churches, their scene, and that doesn't necessarily jive with you and what you want for your kids to turn out to be. You want them to be individuals. You want them to be free thinkers.
Exactly.
And you want them to be like you in a lot of ways, because you know the rights and wrongs of life. You've been through it already, right? So the home is, I would think a great place to school your kids. Wes is laughing, I guess.
A lot of inaccuracies in there.
See, the parents here, we're going,
they don't
wait a
teach
minute.
about church at school.
Yeah, but I'm the host.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
All that stuff.
Well, and the issue that I have with homeschooling, and please, I don't know enough about it, but to me, it always was homeschool kids were weird because they didn't have the socialization, right? And if the teacher, the parent, whoever, if you're not a teacher, then how the fuck do you know how to teach them?
True.
Right. Well, you have to also look at the parents. Were the parents weird? How social were they in school?
Right.
So if the child, the child is going to follow the parent. So if the parent is weird, your child is going to end up weird. No offense to the child, but
or weird
the
people
parent,
otherwise.
But, exactly. I mean,
how about if the teachers are weird?
Well, you never know.
We all had a few of those, right?
Exactly. I mean, when you send your child to school, you don't know who you're sending them to. I mean, we all talk about stranger danger, but I mean, inevitably, that's what it is. You're sending your child to learn from somebody you've never met. You don't know them. You don't know how they believe. You don't know their life.
But don't you talk to the teachers?
Well, not even just the teachers, but the peers also.
Yeah.
You learn shit that I would have never learned on the school bus in like middle school.
But isn't that important though in terms of navigating society? Don't you kind of need to know some street shit? I'm just saying.
Well, I think we can see it in this country where people are leaving urban coastal cities because of the indoctrination that's happening in public schools.
Okay.
Everyone has a different opinion on where and what that might be.
Right.
But there are a lot of people leaving the big cities to go to places in homeschool or go to places that have more kind of classic focused education that's like reading, writing, arithmetic versus teaching about all the things they're talking about in schools today that don't necessarily prepare you or aren't even learning.
Right.
There was just an education report that came out right around time of recording. The U.S. has slipped to levels that in education that we haven't seen since the 80s and 90s, and in some cases the 70s. Our math scores are down, our reading scores are down, all across the board. Students are struggling from the pandemic.
Right.
But also because there's so much in school that isn't about learning.
Okay.
And I think that is what Ricker was trying to get to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you. Oh, boy. I'm going to leave this one up to you guys. I'm out of here.
So, you have 6 kids. So there's a lot of social. There's all what age range?
So my youngest is 1.5.
Jesus God.
Is he in high school yet?
Yeah, no.
He's in the dining room.
But, I wonder because he's really intelligent. He just started opening doors. He is getting into everything.
So he hasn't discovered alcohol
He's a little
yet.
genius. Yeah. No, not yet, thankfully. No. And hopefully we won't discover that for a while.
No kidding. But so 1.5 to...
my oldest will be 13 next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've been busy, girl.
Informative years. And this is where you really want to make an impact on their brains, right? And so why homeschooling for you? What's your choice? I would think that every parent has their own beliefs and their own, reason for doing it.
Right.
For you, personally, you went to school with Wes.
I did.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
And Daniel Berman, our creative director. He and Wes are the founders of The Leaf in 2010. I've just been here for 4 years with the Bearded Lorax. But you guys went to middle school together.
Yeah.
So you went through the whole rigmarole. Why
I
homeschooling?
I ended up in high school, somehow ended up missing about half a credit. I thought I could bring some of my sports, like I played soccer through high school. I thought I could use those as some credits, but I was actually half a credit short. So I needed to make up a credit. Our high school offered a program where they had a classroom that was set aside where you come in. They provided school computers and everything, but you could also do it from home. So if you didn't have a computer at home, you could come into school and do it, but you also had that opportunity. You came in once a week to check in with the teacher, and you could go home. And I ended up having to do that through summer school. After that, I was like, this is kind of cool. I don't have to go to school early in the morning. I can wake up and do school from home whenever I feel like it. I can walk downstairs and have a snack if I want.
I did pretty much the same thing. So I didn't have to get a GED. I actually got an actual diploma.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was a really nice, convenient way to have to make up half of credit. And I got to do it right from the convenience of my house. I woke up and I did school in my pajamas. It was really nice. It was comfortable. I actually finished it early. It didn't take me as long as it should have, and it gave me the ability to do it whenever I wanted to.
Convenient, yes. But, I think we can all agree that there's a balance to life and learning when you're young, and having that balance to be able to lean upon when you're an adult, right? So you're missing certain elements when you go to school, but you're also gaining elements when you're staying home. How do you determine what's best for your child?
So what's best for my child is what's best for the family. It kind of how our family runs. We run our family off of the model of you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So I choose to keep my children at home in order to teach them how to be functional, how to be in the world and deal with people. We do go out. They get to be social with children. We go to parks. They get to go do other things. So they have that social aspect, but they also have that at home. So it's kind of more of a controlled environment where they can, I know who they're interacting with. I can, I actually am present in their life.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate and say, there's a lot. I mean, you played soccer. There was that interaction. In today's world where children spend the majority of their time looking at a screen, I think that being at home offers them more of that opportunity to be on a screen, and they're losing a certain social aspect. And I think after the pandemic, we've all gotten fatigued from watching television or Netflix or whatever and being locked in our homes, where we need to get outside and breathe the fresh air and interact with people, and also, get that herd immunity from being around. I mean, we all know that kids are petri dishes and they build their immunities by being in that setting.
So 2 things. I'm sure your kids do sports or activities and do things with other kids. So you can totally still do that.
Yeah.
I think there's a big difference between Zoom forced remote learning and choosing to homeschool.
Oh, yeah.
The remote learning, the teacher is still the teacher and the kids are just on the screen having to listen. That didn't work. That's why we've slid 20 years back in education scores in 2 years.
Yeah.
And you can blame the lockdowns for that 100%.
Yeah.
That isn't the same as being the teacher and choosing the curriculum and choosing what is screen, what's paper, what's active learning, like, hands-on learning. So I think that's the fundamental difference.
Yeah.
And then it's the choice. I didn't have a choice when my kids got sent home.
Right.
Hans, our sound engineer, didn't, for you, it was like your kids were already at home, Cara.
Right. I mean,
so it wasn't a change.
Exactly.
But I think that's where we weren't homeschooling the kids on Zoom.
Right.
We were just trying to make sure they did the work.
Right.
They still had a teacher who was drowning. They were all drowning.
Poor teachers. God.
Yeah. So I do think there's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you socialize the kids? How do you keep them off of screens?
So actually we do the K-12 program as well. So we homeschool them until they're 8, which in Washington, we are actually the only state to allow children to stay home until 8. All other states, I think it's 6 years old that you have to be enrolled into some type of schooling program. There's actually some type of legislation going in where they're trying to change that in Washington, which a lot of parents are obviously fighting back on that because we want to keep our children home and have that opportunity to have that choice, whether or not your child is mature enough mentally and they're ready to handle school and have that social environment and handle the peer pressure and being around and, other students and other children, older, younger, listening to another adult, and having that be your main influence. So that is a big thing that I have, we keep them at home until they're 8 and then have enrolled them into the K-12 program, where it's a really flexible program where they do have different teachers, but they don't have to show up to that class. The teacher will do a recording and they can watch that later at their convenience. They can complete their tasks and their schoolwork at their own pace, at their own convenience. The teachers are there for office hours if they have questions, but generally we are, as parents, the ones that are going through the school and actually teaching them the curriculum. So it's a nice way to actually not have to find that curriculum myself, but still able to teach them in a way that fits our family and fits their learning style.
Now, do you have to stay home every day?
We don't have to stay home every day. Actually, my daughter can go with me when I'm out, and she can do her homeschool right from my cell phone.
Nice.
She can take her tablet with her and do it in the car. It's just convenient where she can just take it with her. After she's done with school, she doesn't get a whole lot of screen time. All of that is limited, especially with the little ones. The less screen time, the better.
Yeah.
Let's get physical with our hands. Let's learn some stuff, sensory things.
Finger painting.
Exactly.
Yes.
Let's play with some blocks. Let's play with some squishy stuff. Let's go outside and touch something,
In our second segment, we'll talk about teaching on cannabis. But first, Cara, it's time for you to play Serbia or Siberia.
Oh, this is a fun game. You're going to love it.
No, it's not, Mary. You hate this game.
Две страны,
Two countries, two languages, same letters. What the fuck is this world coming to?
Terrible.
Is Serbia
Ты кажешься глупым.
or Siberia?
Кури травку, придурок.
I feel like Doobie's overacting in that
think?
one. Yeah. Being a little melodramatic, right?
It's funny.
Jeez Louise. So cannabis is highly illegal in both of these countries, but that isn't the only thing. Number one, Cara. This country has a river called Year, aptly named because it is 365 meters long. Serbia or Siberia?
Serbia.
That's correct.
Good
She
job.
sounded so damn confident there, huh, Stash?
Smart.
It's like she's
No
been there
idea
before.
about
Come on.
No clue.
They sound alike. America or Murica? Oh. All right, number 2. What, man? A deep hole drilled in this country became widely known as the quote-unquote well to hell when religious media purported that screams of the damned were recorded in its depths. Serbia or Siberia?
It's real.
I have no idea. Let's go with
They
Siberia.
can't explain the sounds.
Siberia, she's right.
Oh, God. Siberia,
Wow.
people are buried in the ice and screaming from the depths?
Absolutely,
That's
Mary.
fucking
Where you
scary.
been?
Go
You
on.
haven't heard about the caves in Antarctica?
No. We're talking about Siberia, not Antarctica.
Still.
Really?
We need to do
Yes.
another conspiracy
There's
show.
people in the earth.
Okay.
Just saying.
cool.
Thanks, Seth. Thank you for
Lizard
clarifying,
people,
Stash.
crab people.
Okay, number 3. This country is called the Siberia of the Balkans.
Siberia.
That's correct. Couldn't stump her on that one, Mary.
Damn, she good. She
Well,
good.
she's stoned. I thought, geez, at least that would be a
she
gimme,
quick.
right? If you want to discover cannabis news, reviews, entertainment, and culture, and explore every Leaf magazine at your convenience, search leafmagazines.com. Coming up in our second segment, we'll dive into the benefits of teaching on cannabis. And we'll get another spin of Stash's wheel and kick it all off with another episode of Not for Nothing. Leaf Life continues in just a moment.
Your hosts for Leaf Life are Mike Ricker and Wes Abney. Leaf Life is produced by Mike Daly. Some of the music heard is provided by purple-planet.com. Every bit of cannabis you use is female, so please respect the ladies.
Leaf Life is brought to you by Leaf Nation, featuring Alaska Leaf, Oregon Leaf, Northwest Leaf, Northeast Leaf, Maryland Leaf, Amsterdam Leaf, and California Leaf. On the shelf now in your local retailer.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. There may be health risks associated with consumption of this product. For use by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children.
Some of the wardrobe, including Ricker or Wes's sick lids, is provided by Grassroots California. Check out the dopeness at grassrootscalifornia.com.